One.
Okay, I am back after a few hours of sleep, which were absolutely vital to me. This hour we will be talking to Physics Girl from YouTube.
Hi there.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you.
And with me also is Sarah.
Hi.
Okay, let's see. Let's just begin with Physics Girl. Do I call you Physics Girl or?
You can call me Diana. I have a name.
Diana. Yeah, yeah.
Somewhere hidden in there. I tried to hide it for a while, but it escaped.
Yeah. So who are you? You're doing physics-related videos on YouTube. What?
I am. Yeah, I am. I was a physics major in undergrad, and I didn't want to keep working in a lab. I want to do something a little more creative, so I started making videos on YouTube, and they kind of caught on.
Yeah. So you've been I have actually tried to not watch your channel so we can have something to talk about because I don't want to ask questions that I already know the answer to.
Okay.
But is this how you make a living, or
No. I actually work at a university doing physics outreach at UCSD, and I also work at a science museum running workshops for children. So we do a bunch of like summer science camps and things like that, and I tutor. Awesome. I have kind of a lot of sources of money that are not YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not an easy way to make a living unless you have like 100,000 subs or something like that. I've noticed that myself. But so you have like a bachelor's or?
Yeah, I have a bachelor's in physics, kind of just general physics with a focus in electrical engineering.
Okay, that's the stuff I hated. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that reaction a lot.
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of why I tried to make the videos. My sister is a dancer. My mom is she owns a bed and breakfast. My dad's a tree farmer, so they have nothing to do with science. Yeah. So if I could possibly get them interested, that's what I try to do.
Yeah. Well, I should probably clarify. It's the part of physics I hated. I am actually a physics teacher.
I do that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just...
you hated the electrical part.
Yeah. I took the electromagnetism part was something... First of all, I wasn't really interested in that in high school, and then in college when I took that course, I probably had the worst teacher I've ever had as a professor. He was... it's actually the only time that I have actually stood up and walked out in the middle of a lecture because I felt that I'm actually gonna know more if I don't listen to this guy and just read the textbook.
I might have had that same guy. I had one who would yell at us. It was 8 a.m. for a week straight for 4 weeks. Every morning in January, we had a January term, and the guy would yell at us like we were a boot camp. It was insane. So I've skipped many of those lectures.
Yeah, for me the problem was that he was just not at all interested in teaching. He seemed like a brilliant scientist, but he wanted to talk about his work more than the actual course. He was on about the Casimir effect and stuff like that he was talking about at some conference in Switzerland or whatever, and it was supposed to be about electromagnetism. What? I mean, at the undergraduate level. What?
Yep. So do you teach high school?
Yeah.
Okay, that's tough, man.
No, actually it isn't. I really like doing that. It's the right level for me.
But you have to deal with the hormones and like all the life that's happening to them.
Yeah, but I actually find that stuff charming.
That's good. That is good. I like so we mostly have younger kids and middle schoolers, in our camps, and I love them. They just love you. You know, anything you say, they absorb it. So that's great.
I guess I should let Sarah do some talking as well. I'm sorry, Sarah.
Oh, it's okay. I'm glad we're not that bad to teach.
No, very often it depends on, from one individual to the next. But even people who don't like physics or math, they can be really fun to be around for other reasons. I try to be pretty easygoing as a teacher, so I want to have fun in the classroom, and that rubs off on the students.
Do your students watch your videos?
I've never heard of it.
Okay.
I don't announce it in class. If someone finds them, cool. But it's not something I want to advertise. That's why I try not to, I don't want to give out my real name, for example, because I don't want people like Googling my name, finding my videos, because it could be a bit awkward.
Yeah, it's been awkward for me.
Yeah.
When I've had different people throughout my career, like professors finding out that although these aren't, I don't know, they're pretty tame. They're just physics videos. So it's not so bad. And now that I've gotten a few subscribers, they're on board with what I'm doing, which is even better. Yeah. We've got the professors behind me.
That's cool.
So Sarah, are you a student?
I am, yeah, I'm in high school.
Oh, awesome. Very cool. And do you like physics, might I ask?
Yeah, I'm very interested in it.
That's awesome. Are you planning on going to college after this?
I am, yeah.
Oh, there's fireworks going on outside.
Guess I'd like to ask you how you got interested in studying physics at college.
That's a good question. It probably didn't start in college, or I wouldn't have spent every waking hour studying physics. It was probably in high school. I had some really fantastic teachers who would, they had some really cool experiment going on all the time in their classrooms. They had like a block of ice with a string hanging over it with weights, and the string would cut through the ice throughout the day, and we'd all run in and go check it out. Or she had something exploding or something like rockets shooting off. So I loved all of that. She made physics exciting, and when I got to college, I was like, well, I liked my physics class. I guess I'll try that.
How does that work in America? Is it you mentioned experiments? Did you have a lot of math in the physics in high school?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So you teach in Sweden?
Yeah.
Okay, I see. Yeah, we have a lot of math. Yeah. It obviously depends on the high school. Some high schools teach physics with calculus, which I think most students are not at that level of taking physics with calculus. So I just, I had the algebra. We did some of the friction equations. I don't even remember. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, we have like the first physics course that I teach. There's no calculus, but then it comes in. So we sort of start with Newtonian mechanics and just in one dimension. So constant velocities and stuff. So you really don't need any calculus. But then we come back to that later, and then we introduce the calculus. But then they've already had a bit of calculus in math class.
So most students don't take calculus in high school here in the States. Is that common in Sweden?
It's not mandatory.
Okay. Same here.
But yeah, if you're going to take the more advanced physics courses that are being offered, then you have to take those math courses. You're just never going to make it otherwise.
So what's your favorite subject to teach?
That's a tough one. yeah, it's hard to pick one, but I guess, I mean, my real passion in physics is cosmology, but we only touch on that stuff, so I don't get to teach it a lot.
I know, I guess cosmology is not that important for everyday life, but I think that's where the cool stuff is.
Yeah, it is.
One of my most recent videos was about dark matter.
Oh.
And I did some dark matter research when I was in undergrad. We were building a detector, helping to look for dark matter. So I finally gave it and made a video about it, and it was awesome, because that's the stuff that I really like to talk about, is the physics that no one really knows about yet.
Yeah.
That is kind of mysterious to the general public.
Yeah, I tend to get that sort of reaction when I talk about that stuff. When I go over like the energy distribution, if we're looking at like, you know, how much is dark energy, how much is dark matter, how much is normal matter and radiation. And I say like, I don't have the figures in my head, but like 5% of the universe, that's what we have some knowledge of, and here's all this other stuff. We have no idea what this is. And students go like, wait a minute, didn't we say that at the beginning of the 20th century, physics was almost done? No, it wasn't.
Turns out there's this mysterious substance permeating the entire universe.
Yeah, and that's really interesting stuff.
So Sarah, have you taken any physics courses?
We choose a subject that we study for 2 full years in Ireland. So I chose to study physics, and I'm halfway through that 2 years course.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm halfway through doing Leaving Cert Physics.
So what's been covered so far?
We did waves, we did sound, we did electricity, and we've done modern physics as well, like photoelectric effect and that kind of stuff.
Oh, cool.
There seems to be a big fan of physics on the chat.
Yeah, let's see.
Square root of 10.
If it's more than 2 significant figures, you're doing it wrong. Okay.
Well, I love astrophysics as well. It's probably my favorite. I try not to make every single video about space, but it's hard.
Yeah.
I feel like the last few ideas I've had have been black holes and black hole evaporation, and what else have I wanted to do? Like supernovas, neutron stars, but gotta get something else in there.
Yeah, I actually just had this last semester that just ended. I had students who wrote projects. Which in Sweden you have to do like a project that you have a whole year to do it. It's like a kind of like a thesis, only not as serious. Well, I had one about neutron stars and one about black holes, and it was just like, holy crap! They're going technical on this. The black hole stuff, they brought up like comparing the Schwarzschild and the Kerr metrics, and I was like, whoa, okay, crap. Now I'm gonna have to read up on this myself, because I to me those were like, yeah, I've heard of it, and I know what a Schwarzschild radius is and stuff like that, and I have been dabbling a bit in general relativity, but. Whoa, damn.
I mean, that stuff is beyond me too, as well. So I'm not sure exactly.
I was just reminded in the Skype chat, people, you need to donate. This is a charity event. Have you forgotten that? We're at 2788 right now. That's great, but we need more. There are people who need clean water and roads and bridges and stuff like that. So come on, people. Can we get some sort of incentive here? And no, microbloganism, you are... I'm not being outdone by students because in the end I actually did read up on all of that stuff and actually corrected some of what they did. So, but I got a little concerned when they wanted to go beyond the pop science level. Yeah. But it was awesome because I ended up acing one of them anyway.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was really cool. So donations, people.
Donations. Well, I don't know how fast this goes, but I guess I could turn on my video if we reach a certain amount. Marty loves harassing his students. Oh, are you Norwegian?
No, that's the running joke. The running joke is at some Swedes and Norwegians have this sort of sibling type relationship where we hate each other, but really we don't, but we act like it. So someone actually made the genuine mistake of calling me Norwegian, and I said something like, if you ever say that again, I'm going to hunt you down and kick your ass. And then, of course, it became the running joke, so now I'm officially Norwegian.
Well, I don't know that we really have that with anyone as Americans. I guess you call us, I don't even know. I grew up in Hawaii, and I had a lot of people ask me if I was American, or if I had like my U.S. citizenship. But we weren't confused for anyone. So there's a question a little bit further up about the event horizon.
Hawking's recent.
Yeah, that's interesting. So
that is very interesting, and I had to deal with that one as well.
You had to deal with the question from your students?
Yeah. Well, actually, I brought it up, and then I had to explain it to them, what the hell it meant.
Oh, I see.
Because they got, okay, so now black holes don't exist all of a sudden?
Yeah, that's what everyone was asking me when that came out. They're like, so I heard that black holes aren't a thing anymore. But, so, I mean, my thoughts on that are just that it was blown out of proportion, and words were taken to not mean what they actually said. So black holes do exist. And that's not what Hawking said.
Yeah, it's more a case of the definition needs to be a bit changed. The definition has to be altered slightly. Mm-hmm. The thing exists, but what it is was slightly misunderstood, so that our definition doesn't hold up.
Yep.
Okay. I have a question for you. How does physics work? Is it like magic or just silliness? Yes. Next.
Is it like magic? It's kind of like magic. There's some things that I have a lot of trouble explaining or understanding, and it's until I get to the point of understanding that it feels like it's magic. But you always get to that point where you're where you finally understand it and you can explain it using the laws of physics. I don't know who King Crocoduck is, but that's cute.
Yeah, you should check him out. He'll be on the next hour, I think.
Oh, cool.
Oh, yeah, it even says so. Susskind or Hawking in a fight to the death. Hawking, without even getting up.
Definitely.
I'm sorry, Hawking beats anyone in a fight to the death without even getting up.
I don't know if you guys have seen that video of it was an interview with Hawking recently. I can't remember the guy who does the interview, but he was I don't know. He's some famous British guy, but he was owned by Hawking. It was awesome. John Oliver, that's the one. Thank you.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
It's amazing.
Marty doesn't like the hologram theory. No, that's not it. It's just that Stephen Hawking is awesome. That's it. No, I like Susskind too. But Hawking is made of solid awesome, so that's it.
Quantum mechanics is similar to magic, but no magic is involved.
I can agree that it seems like magic when you don't understand it, but the weird thing is once you get a basic understanding of the math, you see that all the weirdness sort of it's explained by the math, and then it doesn't seem as weird anymore. It's just when you start trying to interpret it, then it becomes weird.
Yeah, when you try to explain exactly what's going on in the way you would explain something every day, like throwing a ball.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Zulu, I'm calling him Cal, is asking in the Skype chat, since we have you here, what's your view on the quantum woo merchants?
I don't know what that is.
It's the people who basically say that quantum mechanics is the blah 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 consciousness. You think something and it happens.
Yeah.
Simply because they have no clue what it says and figure that no one does, so they can use it to support anything.
Yeah. Well, let's go with wisdom benders. That's crap. I was raised with a number of people and friends who believe in things like that. I respect their beliefs and I respect whatever people say, as long as they're not spreading information that's just wrong. And this is, I had a relative who I was telling about dark matter and the research I was doing when I was in college. And all she got out of it was dark matter. That makes me think of how there's the light and the dark in the world and you have to have them both and they balance. And I just had to shake my head thinking, if you had named it something else, like invisible matter, she wouldn't have said that. It's just a name that sparked some kind of...
I think they should have just named it Rubin matter.
Rubin matter?
Yeah, well, wasn't it Vera Rubin who discovered it?
Right.
I mean, then it wouldn't be a problem.
I think it would have been Zwicky matter.
Yeah, probably. Probably. But
he was the guy that coined the term, so...
Yeah. That's probably true. But it's still... it's the same thing with black hole. I mean, that's a stupid name. I mean, granted, hearing the name may be one of the big things that got me into physics, because I just, I was like 6 years old or something, and I heard it, and I was like, whoa, what's that? And it was something that grabbed my attention, and it seemed fascinating. A star became a black hole. Okay, I had no idea what the hell that meant, but it sounded awesome. But at the same time, it gives an idea that it's... Why call it a hole?
I know.
It's an object that just hangs there, and things go into it and don't come back out. But it's not a hole. It doesn't lead anywhere necessarily.
Right.
I mean, that's other stuff that you can sort of dig out of the math. That it's possible that you can have two black holes connected by a wormhole or something. But that's not what it is. That's at this point, it's just people speculating using fancy math. We don't...
Right, and a hole sort of implies that it's the absence of anything. Like a hole is just nothing. Right. And black holes are definitely not that.
No, it's definitely not nothing. It's a hell of a lot compressed in
a hell of a lot of
space.
Stuff.
But the question is, what could it have been called instead? Like something like a supermassive stellar remnant or something like that. But it doesn't sound as catchy, though.
Very small, massive object.
Yeah, very small, massive object. Yeah. Marty, legitimate question. How do you react to the people who show disdain for theoretical physics as a waste of time? Yeah, you know what? I'm going to pass that on to you.
Okay. Because they do not understand it.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose my reaction depends on who the person is. If it is someone with money who's giving financial support to theoretical physics, I think there's more attention. If it's just some random person, you don't have to entertain those people. Although my goal as a video maker is to increase interest and awareness and make physics seem fun. So I guess my reaction would be the same as what I normally do, is trying to get people to understand physics, even theoretical physics, understand what's going on, think that it's cool, and understand what use there is.
Yeah. And I would say that we don't... there are things in theoretical physics right now that we have absolutely no use for right now. What's the practical use of, I don't know, knowing about the Higgs boson? Right now, absolutely zip. But we don't know if it will be useful in 20 years. So if we stop doing research because it doesn't have practical application right now, there's no telling what we will be missing out on.
Right, yeah, that's the other side of it, is it's not just people who don't understand the physics, it's people who don't see the use of what we're learning, but that often comes later, as history has shown. Sarah, do you know much about black holes and dark matter and all this stuff?
Just the normal stuff you'd find out on documentaries and stuff. Not really enough to join in.
But interestingly, that is quite a lot, actually, because people tend to be interested in that stuff, so it is brought up in documentaries. And sadly, if you want to get more technical than what documentaries bring up, then you need to bring up the math. And that's nasty math, especially with black holes. And then we're talking general relativity. That is nasty stuff. So basically what I teach isn't more advanced than what's brought up in those documentaries. So Sarah, you probably know as much about black holes as most of my students after I'm done with them. And sorry, Mari Ziller says it's not nasty math, it's beautiful. Yes, it's beautiful, but it's a bitch to learn. I'm struggling with general relativity myself just for fun. Yeah, that's how nerdy I am.
I never got very deep into general relativity, so you're on your own there.
When you start bringing up, covariant derivatives and there's a textbook problem that is, derive the Riemann tensor, and I'm like, no. I kind of get what it is. That's all I need to move on. There's not going to be a test because I'm doing this on my own. So, you know what? How about no?
Did the donations stop, or is it just...
I think sadly, I think the people watching have been watching for a long time, and they have already donated.
Well, thanks for donating already, guys. But
it's great that people have donated, but we need more donations. I think it's not updating right now, the video, at least not for me.
Yes.
And now I think the video feed is glitching a bit. I think people can still hear us. It keeps freezing. I don't know what's going on with that. Every year we have to have some tech glitch. Last night it was the chat that kept freezing.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's still going.
Yeah.
Okay, so they can still hear us. That's good.
Yeah. Sarah, you have anything?
It's a bit too early in the morning to...
There we go.
Okay, your most recent video, I'm looking at that right now. It was about the physics behind a curveball.
Yeah, I did the physics of soccer, or as the rest of the world calls it, football.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, came from the only country that calls it soccer.
I tend to call it that as well.
We call it that in Ireland.
You call it soccer?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Because we have Gaelic football here, which is what we call football. So the World Cup style stuff is called soccer.
Awesome. I did not know that. And Australia calls it soccer. All right, I'm wrong. Not the only country.
It's weird though, because I understand why it's called football.
I understand.
You use your feet.
America calls it freedom.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was on the physics of a curveball. I came up with the idea, obviously because of the World Cup, and wished that I had done it a bit earlier. But I have a friend who could kick a curveball from the corner into the goal, and so we did that. It took about 3 days to get the right shot. Poor guy had to kick the ball over and over and over. But then described how wind moving along the ball actually causes it to move to one side. And the video goes into that.
Okay, there's a question here. What's the news about Garrett Lisi and his Lie 8 theory these days? Is that something you know anything about?
Nope.
As I recall, it's a proposed theory of everything that is not gaining traction with the scientific community. I have sort of looked at it, and unfortunately, it's a lot of that math is above my head, so I really can't analyze it.
Okay.
But the general opinion about it seems to be that he's talking out of his ass.
Is this like an alternative to string theory kind of thing?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Usually, I think the issue is it has something to do with like mathematical symmetries and stuff like that, and that's it's possible that the math is fine, but you see, I mean, the problem with just doing the math is you need to check that it's compatible with reality as well. And I think that's something he just doesn't do. But I don't.
So I had heard of this guy actually. He's a surfer physicist.
Right.
So
he's one of those, independent guys. I mean,
I see.
I'm pretty sure he has a legitimate PhD in physics. I don't know what branch of physics, but he doesn't work for a university. He's sort of off on his own.
Right. Yeah, I'd heard of him because he's from Hawaii, so people kept pointing him out to me.
Calico, if the math works, then shouldn't it be compatible with reality? No, because it's kind of like you have you can have an argument that is perfectly valid logically, but it still has a conclusion that's not true because the premises are not true. It's kind of like that. So you can have math that actually checks out perfectly, but if you put the wrong data into it, or you have the wrong variables in there in the first place, then you're going to end up with a conclusion that is completely separate from reality. The math in Newtonian mechanics, perfect, but it still leads to the wrong conclusion when you try to calculate the orbit of Mercury. because you're putting in the wrong information. Okay, what else do we have?
Yeah, there was a comment about the curveball being the same in baseball and some other sports. Where I lost that.
Well,
but that's true. Yeah, the curveball is really any spinning ball in any sport, right. Especially a baseball pitcher uses that a lot.
Marai, that's a perfect example. Like what creationists do with population growth. The math is fine. It's the wrong math, though. That's the issue. Okay, so let's see. Donations, people. And one thing you can donate for is you can vote for the Idiot of the Year award. You can check that out. There's a poll going down below the stream. Unfortunately, the free version, if you click there, you can only vote for the ones that are nominated. And that would be Deepak Chopra, Mike Adams, Ken Ham, and the Pope. And right now, let's see. Whoa, Ken Ham is in the lead by a lot. 36 votes for him so far. That's 82% of the people who have voted. Very few have voted, unfortunately. It would be cool if Ken Ham got that. But personally, I want to see Jordan of Spirit Science take this one. And the only way you're going to be able to vote for him, since he's not nominated, is if you donate money. Because if you donate money and say who you're voting for, each dollar counts as one vote.
Awesome.
Diana, what's your favorite area of physics? I think we covered that, but...
Yeah. Cosmology, astrophysics, anything to do with space.
Yeah.
I really like nanophysics. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen, yes, this is Physics Girl. I don't know if you've ever seen ferrofluids, but it's nanoparticles of iron suspended in an oil. Yeah. And when you bring a magnet nearby, it makes incredible spikes. It's really crazy. Cool. Yeah, there are things like that.
Sarah, what's your favorite area?
So far, I enjoyed modern physics most that we studied.
Yeah, so like basic quantum mechanics and
that kind of stuff. Well, and the photoelectric effects, the Planck's constants and that kind of stuff. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really cool.
There's also some, I didn't really know about this so I actually live with, I have 4 roommates who are all physicists. So it's an interesting household. It's like the real Big Bang.
Yeah, I feel like we should.
I feel like we should make a reality show called The Real Big Bang.
Yeah.
Or Big Bang Theory, I guess. Maybe it would be a different show. It was just The Real Big Bang. But one of them was telling me about metamaterials, which are materials that have certain properties at the nanoscale, like at the almost atomic level, that cause them to do something completely different. Like you could heat one of the materials up and get a drop of water to roll uphill on the material, or you could get light to bend backwards in a way it normally wouldn't by having these properties down at like a molecular level. So there's also there's that like, I don't know what kind of physics that is that involves metamaterials, but there's much more of that I find absolutely fascinating, but don't know enough to call it my favorite branch of physics.
Well, that's sort of a dilemma. Things are usually interesting as long as you don't know too much about them. Once you actually get it, I had a professor who said something about, like, he was disappointed because he never learned anything complicated.
Yep.
And then he realized that the reason you don't learn anything complicated is that once you've learned it, it's no longer complicated.
Yeah. That's a good point. I don't know. I never found physics very difficult because it just made a lot of sense to me. It was so logical. You just one step to the next to explain the world. And so for people who always found it really tough, I didn't, I could never say, you know, I'm sorry. I understand it really well. So it's not one of those complicated things here.
No, I think people are making it more complicated than it needs to be because, you know, they're trying to use the same logic that applies in the humanities or social studies or, you know, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
But it doesn't work that way, you know. Atoms are not people. They don't behave like people. They behave in much more simple ways. You don't have to consider, you know, how they might feel about something and how they might respond to something, you know, democratically or whatever.
Yep.
There's no ethics involved. It's just, here's how it works. There you go. Here's another question from Zulu, Cal, whatever he wants to be called nowadays. How do you deal with people who complain about physics costing too much? You're saying that it's of no use, like the Hadron Collider, like it's a waste of money, basically. How?
Well, I mean, we covered that a little bit in that some of the physics that you do has an obvious purpose right off the bat. I mean, the Hadron Collider had very specific particle physics goals, but any physics that you do, any science that you do, you often have to develop technology in order to do the specific science, but that technology can later be applied to other everyday useful things. I think this is the case with much of the NASA research, that people could complain going to the moon is not useful for us for every day, but we might not know. You know, maybe this is science fiction talk, but maybe someday we'll have to leave Earth and go to another planet or something and colonize another planet. And if we don't develop the technology or know what's out there by exploring and by learning with expensive projects, you know, we would never be able to do that, something like that in the future.
Right. Okay, so I just got a question here. Why your intense disdain for spirit science? Aren't there more formidable opponents on YouTube? Well, of course there are more formidable opponents, but first of all, they don't necessarily have the same amount of viewers. I mean, the guy has 300,000 subscribers almost, and it is absolute bullshit that is harmful. I mean, the guy's advising people to not seek medical attention and instead just meditate. I mean, come on, that's harmful. And I have actually been getting messages from people who have been harmed by it. I don't know how much I want to give out, but well, let's say I had one example of someone, a girl who messaged me saying her boyfriend failed to graduate high school because when he started watching spirit science during his last year, he stopped caring about school because he figured, you know what, the universe doesn't need me to know this stuff or something like that. I mean, it's, look, when you're actually promoting ideas that are so incredibly brain dead, you're encouraging scientific illiteracy and you're encouraging a disdain for knowledge in general. And it causes harm. And people who spread such ideas need to be hung out in public. And I think ridicule is one of the best ways to deal with them because they're not going to listen to reason. if you believe that Jews are from space, you're not going to change your mind because someone says no, they're not.
Mm-hmm.
So there's your answer.
Here's a good example of I don't even know what to call it. Not pseudoscience because it's not science, but back in I don't know what year, the early 1900s, there was that radium water that people were advertising. It had radium in it, and it was advertised as harnessing the power of the sun. And because it was radioactive and they didn't fully understand radiation back then. And it wasn't scientists that were selling or promoting any of this stuff. It was just random people that stated it was some kind of miracle substance that was going to help you or make you healthier, make you stronger. And it ended up harming a lot of people. There was a case of a guy whose jaw actually fell off from the damage and the radiation. And it is something that, because of lack of knowledge on the part of the people buying the product and lack of critical thinking, or or looking into whether this had been studied, whether whether it was something harmful or useful, it ended up causing a lot of damage to a lot of people.
Yeah, and today we have similar things, with alternative medicine, because of, I guess, to a large extent, because it just, medicine costs money. You have side effects that people are becoming more and more aware of. And you have people offering things like homeopathic remedies that supposedly have no side effects, which is true. I mean, they have no effect. So, but people will go for that instead because people in general are stupid, unfortunately. And the people who understand that, here's a bad idea need to say that because then people get to hear both sides. And I think to a large extent the scientific community, and this is especially true when it comes to creationism, the scientific community was quiet about it for too long. So the idea sort of took root, and now it's, most people, at least in America, most people, I think, believe one thing, and everyone who actually knows anything about it believes something completely different. And that's a problem.
I think it's really tough. I tend to give people the benefit of the doubt and not think that they're inherently idiots. I think most people are just uneducated and don't take the initiative to educate themselves. Someone asked about the jaw falling off. It was this guy named Eben Byers who lost his jaw due to too much radiation.
Yeah, and when I say that people in general are stupid, that I mean exactly what you just said. That most people that they're ignorant and won't do something about it. The way I've put it like this before: someone who asks a stupid question is ignorant and trying to do something about it. That's a good thing. Someone who needs to ask a stupid question but doesn't is not ignorant. He's stupid.
Or doesn't recognize the benefit to his own life of becoming more inquisitive and learning more about the world.
Exactly.
You'd think he would have stopped before he lost his job, but if you think it's doing something good for you, you may not realize what it is that's harming you.
Exactly. You think, hey, something bad's happening to me, so I need to take more medicine. It's like people who pray instead of seeking medical care. Hey, it's not working. I guess I better pray harder.
Hey, someone donated $1. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
$1 per hour. It must have been a bit of a higher rate than the rest of the time.
Yeah, I think we're gonna need more than that. How do you combat defensiveness when you have demonstrably proven someone false on a topic of conversation? You don't.
Yeah.
It's pointless. If you have demonstrated that someone is wrong and they simply refuse to accept it, there's really nothing you can do. Mm-hmm. You move on. I try to have conversations in public so that at least the people watching will learn something.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah, I'm not a very combative or argumentative person, and so I put these videos out there to educate people, and I let them watch for themselves. If they want to watch, they can. If they disagree, they don't have to watch them. But hopefully, one by one, I reach more people, and I'm hoping eventually that most of my audience will be younger children, so that it starts young, and whatever they might not have been exposed to when they were younger, then they might get that from something like Physics Girl videos on YouTube.
Yeah. A guest just donated $5. Awesome.
Thank you. This is such a cool show. I'm really happy to be involved in the Engineers Without Borders.
Yeah, it is a really great cause, I have to say that. That's why we're doing the show.
But I would love to be able to donate more, but I have no job. I feel your pain. I've been there.
Yeah, me too. How much money to do? Of course, live on camera. I don't know. $10.
$10. Oh, there it is.
What figure are you up to now?
$23.95, I think. Let's see, come on there. Yeah, no, $27.95.
What is your? Of course, is that your signature line?
No, it's not mine. It's actually ripped off from the Nostalgia Critic. Whenever someone says "Take over the world," play a clip of a guy from the Street Fighter movie saying, "Of course," because every bad guy wants to take over the world, so take over the world, of course. And I did a rip-off of that with myself instead of playing the clip for copyright-related reasons.
Yeah,
sure, I'll do it for $10. I'd do it for free, but this is a charity show, so.
Well, let's see. Does anyone have any suggestions for a video I should do next? Let's see if there's any interesting topic ideas. Do you have any suggestions, Marty?
Not really. Someone has an idea, it says here. And of course, someone drops the porn related.
Yeah, I've gotten that suggestion. Sorry, that one's already been thrown out there.
And now the 5 you donated don't count because I said it after that.
So what's on for the rest of the show? What's coming up next? King Crocoduck?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, that's a good idea. Why is it that dragster cars have wide ass tires?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it has to do with friction and sliding, but
it would have to.
I'll have to look into it and see if there's more to it.
Yeah, there's probably some interesting physics there. There's a lot of physics that goes into those cars, like distance from the distance they're off the ground and stuff to create vacuum effects and stuff. That's really interesting. Come on, let's get up to 2,800 people.
We're so close. Immunoglobulin-bound magnetic beads. I don't know what that is. I'm going to have to look that up. see.
People, come on, come on.
So we've got a couple minutes left?
Yeah, 3 minutes to go. 2 minutes, according to Cal.
So Sarah, will you be taking any physics in college?
I would like to. Possibly mathematical physics would be what I'd be interested in, or applied math, something on that line.
That's cool.
Awesome. Very, very cool. I definitely recommend, if you like the math, I definitely recommend taking physics with math.
Yeah, well, it's hard to do physics without math, so.
That's true. There's always just, I don't know what you call it, conceptual physics, explaining what's going on instead of calculating it.
Yeah, and that's
I think is
tends
important to
be
understand.
That tends to be what I do right now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, $10 came in.
Awesome.
Someone say it.
What do we have to say?
Come on, chat room, someone say it. Of course!
I'm clapping over here. That was awesome. Oh, now everyone's saying it.
Yeah. Well, it's the delay.
That was awesome. Worth it.
Okay, well, Sarah, do you have any last things to say before we wrap up this hour?
I don't think so, no.
No? Okay, well, then, Diana, I'm glad you came along for this hour. It was great to have you here.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun chatting with you. And it was nice to meet you as well.
Yeah, same here. Well, that's it for this hour. King Crocoduck is coming up next, and then I have no idea what's coming up after that. I can't remember. I have to check.
Awesome. We'll keep donating, and bye-bye.